Fucking beautiful. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. We're trying to stay away from corona, stay away from people, guys. Look. Oh, I'm showing you the real because the real is better than the fake. Hey guys, it's Dee. Thank you for clicking on my channel and I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the pros and cons of traveling and the pros and cons of traveling around Mexico and Colombia. I forgot to film this part, so I filmed the whole video and now I've just kind of gone back after editing and filmed the intro. So yeah. My love for exploring and my love for traveling came a few years ago when I did my first backpacking trip around Central, North and South America, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. So I returned to my two spots which I felt I hadn't really explored enough. Colombia I hadn't been to yet, and Mexico I'd only done 6 days in, so I really wanted to see more than what Cancun had to offer the first time I went round. So I had my backpack and I backpacked throughout these countries, and I genuinely had an amazing time. I went as a solo female. I traveled on my own with speaking very limited Spanish, and I managed to stay out for 3.5 months with barely any troubles. So let me tell you some of the pros and cons of 1, solo travel, and 2, Colombia and Mexico. Pros of traveling as a solo female: you get to meet so many people. Pia, how ready are you? Many people from different places in the world. I live in London, which is a very multicultural city, and I still had never met so many ethnicities and so many cultures in my life. So it was fantastic to kind of meet people from different places in the world and really experience my time with them as well. So that would be one of my main top highlights, is meeting so many people and being able to socialize with them, because when you are on your own you are more likely to want to meet new people and meet other people to make your experience less lonely. You have your own time, you can plan as you want to plan. If you're a person that likes planning a lot, then that is your time for you to flourish and plan and do as much things as you want to do. So if you want to go see a museum, or if you want to go see an archaeological site, or if you want to go to the beach, then you can do that because you're on your own time. No one else is stopping you from doing what you want to do because you're on your own. So that is a massive pro, because when you are with people, sometimes there is a reluctancy to go with whatever everyone else is doing in the group, or whatever your friend is doing that you're traveling with. So if you're going on your own, that is a massive plus. You can budget on your own budget. So if you're with a friend or if you're with friends, sometimes you'll be likely to go with whatever their budget is, and you will try to work out a happy medium of spending what they're spending, but you don't have that same budget as them. So you can budget as much as you want if you're traveling on your own, because you decide what you want to eat, you decide where you want to go to eat, you decide, you know, everything pretty much. It's the amount of freedom you get from it is crazy. So that is such a massive pro. Also, if you do want to find romance, I guess you could say, then you're also open to do that because you're on your own. You don't have your friend kind of keeping you back from that or whatever. So those are my top pros for traveling on your own. Now, cons of traveling on your own as a female. 1, as everyone might think, is your safety. So there is always strength in numbers, and I do believe that is a true term, and depending of course where you're going, but a lot of countries will have kind of the macho cultures, which, you know, you might get catcalled as a female, or you might, you know, stumble upon problems if you are on your own as a female or as a male. So I think that is a massive con of traveling your own, that sometimes you will be on your own if you're traveling to places, etc. So you know, you have to be careful and you have to be more vigilant. You can overcome that by meeting loads of people and trying to travel with them if you can, you know, for a short period of time, or from getting from A to B. I know that I found that very helpful for myself when I was traveling. I met a lot of people and I would kind of you know, attach myself to them, and then we would travel through places together. Sometimes you don't feel well or you feel ill and you don't really have anyone that you came with, so therefore you have to rely on total strangers to help you out, which doesn't usually work out. So I guess when you're feeling ill, or if you're feeling really shy, you don't want to speak to anyone, and if you haven't met anyone in your hostel or in your hotel, then it's quite hard. You know, I guess you start to miss home a little bit more because you're on your own and you can't really find anyone that you can talk to or whatever. So that could be a massive con as well. Pros definitely outweigh the cons in this situation. Now, the pros of traveling Colombia, apart from the hot mamas. Okay, I'm gonna chill. Hi guys, what's up?
No water.
Right.
So fucking beautiful. We are in Jardín.
Apart from the steamy dancing, the great food, the great drinks, the hot weather, the great people, you know, Colombia is definitely somewhere where I feel like tourism hasn't fully taken over yet, which is so great, because that also means that you have a chance to see places that are pretty much untouched. It's like when you go to Italy, if you've been to Italy before, you know, we dream about Italy and we dream about, you know, seeing so many things, and we get there and we're like, oh, there's so many tourists and it's so crowded, and especially with Corona now, we don't really want that, do we? So it's great when you find somewhere like Colombia where there's so much beauty, there's so much vast beauty, and there's it's still quite untouched by the mainstream tourists. Amazing beaches, great Caribbean coastlines, islands. There is, oh my god, Tyrone Park. If I go into detail between everywhere, you're gonna be like, damn. Really lovely, welcoming people, very friendly, cheap. It is quite cheap, I would say, and it's probably the cheapest around South America, one of the cheapest around South America, I would say. So yes, those are massive pros. They've got a great love for football. They've got a great love for salsa and dancing in general. They've got a massive techno scene, which I didn't know until I got there, and I personally really got into the techno. I'm usually more into reggaeton, and that was also available. So again, a lot of wide music that you could listen to there when you're there, and a great place, great weather, great people. I would highly recommend. The routes maybe are not as planned out as you might like them to be, due to the fact that tourism hasn't really picked up to its maximum. So you know, you kind of have to freestyle what you're doing sometimes, which can be good for travelers that can be quite adaptable and flexible, but for those that are not, then it might be a little bit tougher for them. Most people do not speak English or speak English that well, so therefore you'd have to get around using Spanish, and if you don't know Spanish, then it might become a little bit difficult for you. But again, it's a great reason for you to learn Spanish. I mean, I did a 2-week course when I was there, and I learned some basic Spanish, which I use then to kind of travel, you know, around other places and other regions.
Este va a ser como esta también, mira. Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás? We're trying to stay away from Corona, stay away from people, guys, look. Oh, I'm showing you the real because the real is better than the fake. I'm sweating because it's so hot in the jungle.
We're going to
Mexico is huge, and it's got different regions, it's got different cultures in all these regions, it's got different food varieties you can try, it's got different weathers, different climates, different altitudes. It's a very vastly different country, and it's a great place to travel around, and you could honestly spend around 3 months there because it's so big and you probably wouldn't even see half of it even if you were there for about 3 months. It is still considerably cheap to get around within the country. So if you are using flights, if you're flying within kind of Mexico City to Puerto Escondido or to Oaxaca, then it's still quite reasonably cheap to get within the country. So yes, that's a massive pro if you're planning on doing a trip around Mexico. People are quite used to tourism, therefore English is spoken in most places. Most people will speak a level of English, so that is also a massive pro. Not every area is safe, therefore you have to be very vigilant and careful about the routes you take or the routes you take. Dollar or the American tourists have really picked up Mexico from a while ago. There are places, you know, the Yucatan, which are quite expensive in comparison to other regions within Mexico, so your budget might be blown very quickly if you get to Cancun, for example, and you're getting a taxi ride which is costing you, you know, $40, you know, from one place to another, because obviously there are gringo prices, there are prices for foreigners, and they very much distinguish that. So that could be something that is a con, but you could beat that by going to cheaper places or places that are less populated by American and Canadian tourists. So for me, Puerto Escondido was one of my choices, and that was amazing. It was within my budget, and it was like the coastline was unreal. It was breathtaking. Place such as Mexico City, they've got a huge problem with domestic violence and violence against females. Therefore, what the government has done is they've created a system where the metro, there is a section where it's just females and families, so females can feel, you know, kind of in a haven there. So I guess that is a good way the government is tackling a problem which they have. I personally didn't feel any type of way, and I didn't get harassed or nothing happened to me, but I have heard stories from other travelers where they've had some issues being a female and traveling on their own around Mexico. Because it's so big, it also means that you need to allow yourself a lot of time. So if you don't have that much time, then it might not be the most ideal place to go if you want to see a lot of it, because it's so huge and you might end up spending, you know, so much time there. But yeah, that is my little pros and cons. Very, very simple, simply put, but I'm gonna do another video where I go more into detail about the places that I visited both in Colombia and Mexico, and I'm gonna go into detail about what I like from each of these places. But yeah guys, let me know what you thought of this video. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this. If you do, then write them down in the comments or message me on Instagram and let me know. But yeah guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Peace.